Hi, thanks for joining me today. So first off, I want to apologize for not posting a start to finish Sunday video on time for 2 weeks in a row. I've been really busy on the weekends. So today is Labor Day and it's going to be a start to finish Monday video. These are the stamp sets that we're using today. These are both from the 2012-2013 main catalog. For my card today, I'm going to be using this garden swing image, and we're going to be doing some watercoloring. So I have a piece of Stampin' Up's watercolor paper here. This measures 5.5 long by 2 3/4 tall. So this is going to be a panel down the middle of our card. And of course, when we're watercoloring, we want to use the StazOn ink. And because this is a fairly large image, I like to put the stamp on its back like this and then ink it up this way so I can make sure that I'm getting the best coverage possible. And I'm going to stamp this on the left-hand side of my card, or my panel, excuse me. Give it a good press. And now we're ready to go ahead and color this. So I'm using my watercolor brush, and this is a little bit different from the ones that Stampin' Up sells, but it does the same thing. There's water in the barrel here, and you squeeze it if you want more water to come out of the brush, or you can kind of leave it a little bit dry if you want a darker color. I like to do one piece of the image at a time. So I'm going to be starting with the bench and then moving on to the other portions, just because if you move too quickly and one color is wet when you go and start on another color and you don't want them to blend, you're going to end up with some muddy color. So for my bench, I'm using crumb cake and soft suede. And what you want to do is just take your ink pad and squeeze it together. So all I'm doing is just pressing the front and the back together. And then when you open it, you're going to have your palette of ink in the lid of your ink pad, and you can just pull from that with your brush. So the first thing I'm going to do is just pick up some of the crumb cake ink, and I'm just going to color the whole swing just with kind of a light coat of the crumb cake. And the cool thing about watercoloring, I'm not an expert by any means here, but the neat thing is that you can still get some really cool shading and some great color effects even if you don't really know what you're doing. You don't have to be much of an artist to get some really beautiful images, and it doesn't even matter if, you know, you don't get perfect coverage on your image, or if you get outside the lines a little bit. It's all gonna just look absolutely gorgeous. Then I just have a piece of paper towel here, and to clean your brush, you just squirt water through the tip until it comes clear. And I'm going to take a little bit of my soft suede, and I want this to be pretty light, so I'm going to squeeze a lot of water into the ink there, and then also just dab it off on my paper towel a little bit. And now I'm going to go in here and just add a little bit of shading with the soft suede color. I'm going to use a little bit of wild wasabi for the grass, and I want this to be pretty light. I'm going for a kind of a pastel look here. So I'll just get that watered down, and I'm going to dab off a little bit of excess on my paper towel. And then I'll just go in and add a little bit of color to all those spots where the grass is. I don't know if you can see, but I'm kind of pouncing the color on with my brush. I'm kind of tapping it onto the paper. And then I'll bring in some Lucky Limeade. I'm going to do the leaves on the plant in the pot with this. And same thing, I want to get it kind of wet. Take off some extra. And just fill those in. And then I'll go back in with a slightly less watered down ink, and I'm just going to tap just a little bit at the base of each of these leaves just to give it a little bit of shading. This is Pool Party for the bird. And now I want to go in and do the pot for the plant while I'm waiting for the bird to dry a little bit. I don't want to do his belly until he's dried. This is So Saffron. And I'm just going to add a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of the Calypso Coral for the bird's belly. It's a really tiny spot to get into there. So I used the So Sorry sentiment and So Saffron ink, and I stamped that. I thought my camera was filming, but it wasn't. And now I have some Wisteria Wonder, and this is the little add-on sentiment that says For Your Loss. And I'm actually going to layer that over the So Sorry sentiment, just like this. So here is the focal panel for the card, and now all we have to do is put together the rest of the card. This is a piece of Wisteria Wonder cardstock that measures 5.5 wide by 3 3/4 tall. And I'm going to use the Delicate Designs embossing folders. It's a set of 2. We're going to use this lace border today. The other one that comes in the set looks like this. And I'm just going to place this in here, line up the side, and I'm going to emboss it so that the edge of the scallops of the lace border are right along the bottom of the piece of cardstock. Now you can see that this particular folder leaves an edge along where the border stops. So you want to plan ahead and make sure that when you're using this embossing folder, either you like the way that looks with your design, or you are planning ahead to make sure you can cover it up. So I'm going to take the panel that we stamped and colored, and I'm just going to adhere this, leaving a very small border at the top. I have a little piece of the Lucky Limeade ruffled ribbon. I'm just going to flip this over and add a little bit of adhesive on either side. Get this lined up kind of where I want it, just to cover that seam. And get that stuck down into the adhesive. And then I'm trying to kind of pull it fairly tight because I want it to lie flat across the card front. I just want to make sure that that is square, and that looks pretty good to me. I'm just going to trim off a little bit on the back here. Now I have a So Saffron card base. I'll just go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of my Wisteria Wonder panel. Put a little bit of extra where the ribbon is. And I'm going to center this vertically. Okay. And there is my finished card for this week. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great week. Happy stampin'. Bye-bye.